his paintbrush in his hand and his heart so free. He found inspiration in nature's harmony. Inside his humble abode, colors come alive on canvas. He paints, expressing all his Hey everybody, welcome to Travels with Carl. Episode number 11 today, and I got to change the intro up there. A few people have told me, and I agree, that it's a little bit too long. I love the song. Everybody knows I love the song. But, hey, it's No King's Day again. So we're hoping for a record turnout today, and I'm going to do a little print giveaway down there in Edmonds. That's the closest march to me. I think there's one in Everett too, but I don't know, I like Edmonds a little bit better. And so this is the print. You've seen it before. It's called Scope. I did an edition of signed and numbered of 50 of these, but I found another 40 of them today that were unnumbered or unsigned. So I made it a 10/18/25 No King's Day and signed them. I'm going to give it, you've got about 40 of these here. I'm going to head down there after I shoot this puppy and give these out as a little commemorative poster and thank people for coming out. Look what I'm wearing today. Together we will defeat Trump again. And it doesn't matter how many times we have to defeat him. The bottom line is it's just we have to continually defeat him. We got to get rid of this fucking nut job before he runs this country into the ground, man. Some bamboo shoots. Well, I'm going to get right into it because I'm going to head down there pretty soon. I already said that, didn't I? Last week, my camera angle really sucked. It was a very unflattering camera angle. So I changed that up a little bit today. And, I told you this is coming straight off the top of the noggin, man. This is an unfiltered, unscripted 30 minutes of my life. And I wanted to talk a little bit about that today because starting at the beginning, which is really the only safe place to start, I realized that, or I didn't realize when I conceived of this plot, that it's going to be cathartic. I'm going to be talking about things that bring up feelings and emotions from childhood. And my childhood was a little rocky, okay? I suffered from extreme depression, and I wasn't right in the head. And I self-medicated starting at around the age 14, 15, something like that. A little bit early, and started drinking, started smoking weed, and then gradually more and more stuff and more drinking and self-medicating probably saved my life. Again, I don't advocate the use of drugs or alcohol. I'm just giving you my personal story, but I realized some of those first jobs were difficult to talk about because that wasn't really a very happy time in my life. Well, this is a little different today. And I promised you I'd have this one painted, okay? I'm still falling a little bit short. We got some other paintings out there that aren't done yet, but this one is. Okay, there it is. Philadelphia College of Art. Now, you might say, hey, that's not really a job. That's school, that's education. Well, for me, it was a job, and not that I was working while I was there. I did not work that year, but it's a chunk of my life that was had a beginning and an end. It was a chapter, right? It was a page out of 52 for sure. And my school years were so much more rewarding than many of my jobs, but Philadelphia College of Art is now known as the University of the Arts. I talked a little bit about my acceptance day and the metal sculpture that I showed and some of the other work that I took into Philly that day with my mom, and went to portfolio review day and was accepted right on the spot. That was a big one. 21-story building. So see, this is actually only showing 17 or 18 floors of building. I don't even have the top of the building in there, but right next to it was the Philadelphia College of Performing Arts, separated by a little alley. They weren't under the same ownership or management or anything like that, but I guess you could still call it a sister school. And I got a lot of joy out of looking across that alleyway and waving to somebody learning saxophone. And then every floor here was different. One or two of them were ceramics, one or two of them was oil painting, acrylic painting, drawing, photography, film and video. It was a 21-story office building. I talked about this last week, and I kind of gave it away. It was formerly the Artco office building, and they gave it to the city of Philadelphia for $1 a year rent, so they could get a huge tax write-off on it. And the top 2 floors were a public school in Philadelphia, and we had the rest of the building. I can't say enough how much that impacted my life and my art, but it was a huge boost, and really thought I was on the road to the Super Bowl there. I felt like I got pretty close to it. It was really exciting. I come up out of the subway underneath a giant Claus Oldenburg clothespin, and we got City Hall right down the street, the Broadway Theater right down the street there, where I saw Stevie Wonder, and it was just Bonnie Raitt and so many other fabulous performing artists, musicians there. It's like an acoustically perfect building. Definitely have to check it out if you're ever in Philly. Broad Street Theater is its official name. Anyway, I did my freshman year in college there, and I was going to be a sculpture major when I attended, and they have what's called a foundation year. Your first year, no matter what your major is going to be, you have to take drawing, painting, or 2D, 3D, drawing, painting, and 3D. You have to pass those. And then you have a couple of electives. One of the electives I took was kinetic design with Pete Rose. No relation to the baseball player, but he did The Man Who Couldn't See Far Enough. He did a bunch of films. You can Google him up. One of them, he was the first person that didn't work for the Golden Gate Bridge that was actually authorized to walk across the top structure of the bridge. He grew up climbing bridges illegally as a kid, and took it on into his artwork. But he had friends like Christo, and I mean, this guy, he's just, I need to get back in touch with him or follow up with him and see what he's doing today. I'm sure he was very successful, because he was successful when I knew him. But anyway, he recommended, hey, if I was you, I wanted to major in film and video, I might think about transferring to California College of Arts and Crafts in Oakland, because they have video. And I'm like, Pete, what's video? He's like, it's television. All we had was a 1/2-inch black and white reel video, which is in a shit box camera and a shit box microphone. It's fucked up. And he's like, yeah, they have a 3/4-inch color studio, man, with cassette tapes and Sandine image processor and all kinds of cool stuff. And that's all I needed to hear. I finished that year, and there was about 12 art schools that belonged to the UICA, which stood for the Union of Independent Colleges of Art in America. And it was really a good idea, because they shared this immense film library that the other schools could rent, and they were all like sister schools. Atlanta College of Art was in there. As I mentioned, California College of Arts and Crafts was in there. I think maybe Pratt in New York. I can't remember what the whole list was, and you can Google it up. I'm not even sure if that consortium still even exists. But now, of course, these are all going to get signed and dated and then the prints are going to get signed and numbered. Like I said, I'll probably start printing them out this week. I know I said that a bunch of times, but I'll have all the paintings done, and I got a little, my schedule just opened up, so I've got a lot of ability to get this done right now, and I want to get caught up because episode number 11, man, we're skipping down the road. And okay, that's enough about, well, I may talk more about PCA later because there's just so many stories. Like I said, I've got a great Stevie Wonder story. I got, a guy put a gun in my face right before I got into the concert. And I learned about money laundering and how pizza shops work and stuff like that. And it's the first time I ever saw homeless people sleeping on the steam grates that were over top of the subway. And I never really saw homeless people before in my life. I never really knew maybe one or two gay people. I didn't know gay people. And I moved into Center City, which at the time was like the gay epicenter of Philadelphia. Philadelphia, his nickname is the city of brotherly love. Well, they also have a reputation. Their Philadelphia police were the first police force ever indicted by the federal government for police brutality. So as I get out and get ready to go to No King's Day today, I'm reminded, and I'm thinking about Philadelphia College of Art. I'm reminded of the bicentennial there. I got the first 3 stitches I ever got in my life in my head after getting beat up by 3 Philly cops with nightclubs. I had crossed the police line somehow, and of course I was intoxicated. It's just all they needed, right? That was the only excuse they needed. Guy was drunk. We beat the shit out of him. All good, right? Right. They were untouchable. In fact, I talked to an attorney because, you know me, I'm litigious, and I was thinking about suing the fuck out of him. And this guy's like, don't even bother. You're never going to win, ever. You're never going to win. They're untouchable. And that's the truth. They were at that time. They weren't, but they're not anymore. And now, how ironic is this? I actually know personally the chief of police of Philadelphia. And she started out as an Oakland beat cop, got promoted, went on, became the assistant director, and then the assistant chief, and then the chief of the Portland police force. And that's where I met her the second time. I met her in Oakland, which, this is a long story, but I met her in Oakland when I was working security at Kaiser Hospital. I gave away another job, didn't I? Damn it, forget about that. But then she spoke at the TED Talk in Portland. And then while I was still living in Portland, she saw an opportunity to move to Philadelphia and a much, much bigger police force. So she is now the chief of police in the Philadelphia Police Force, which is wonderful because she's a wonderful woman, and she doesn't go for that shit. I'm anxious to see how much the Philadelphia Police Force has been changed by her leadership, but she is an awesome woman, and her last name is Outlaw. And I told her when I met her at the TED Talk, I said, man, you got like 3 strikes against you. You're a woman, you're black, and your last name is Outlaw. I go, the only way you could top that would be if you were a Jewish lesbian as well. And she laughed, and we laughed, and I went home. Yeah, so I think we're at 14 minutes now. Okay, I talked about my political rant for the day. I talked about some of the action at Philadelphia College of Art. And socially, politically, I do have something to share today because, like I said, it's No King's Day, and I'm going to go down to Edmonds, which is just a little bit south of me and right on the Puget Sound there. Nice little town. And I'm in Linwood, as I mentioned, just a little bit northeast of it. But I could go into Seattle, but it looks like it's going to rain. I got a rain jacket, not that that's a really valid excuse, but I want to finish these paintings today, and I've got the day to do that. So I think I'll go hand out some posters, thank people for protesting, try not to get beat up, and then I'll come back home and knock those paintings out, cook up some great. I'm gonna barbecue a steak, got some corn on the cob, got a smoker, man. I love the smoker. It uses compressed pellets of wood. Pellet smoker, I guess is what it's called, or a pellet grill. Fuck, I'll never get a regular grill again, propane or charcoal. This is it, man. This is the ultimate. It's the best of both worlds. You don't even need to light this. It lights itself. It has a heating rod that sets a few of these little pellets on fire, and then an auger that brings more pellets out with a hopper based on the heat that you're asking it to go to. It's got a digital thermostat and everything, and it's really smart technology, and it stops when it gets to that temperature and holds that temperature and just keeps smoking it. So I've got like a bag of mesquite pellets. I think they cost $15, but I've used it so far about 7 or 8 times. So I'm figuring that I'll probably get 15 to 20 barbecues out of one bag. And that's like $1 a barbecue, right? You just can't argue with the price. It's so easy to clean and maintain. It just gets a little bit of ash in there, and then of course it's got a grease cup. The grease rolls out into a cup on the side of it that you just throw that in the dishwasher, and yeah, I love it. So I'm going to do that after I go protest. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the Snow Kings protest, because today could conceivably be the largest protest in U.S. history. I think they're predicting 10 million people, and I think 5 million people came out for the first Snow Kings Day. So, I'm always hounding, trying to get press. Again, because until I die, I'll never really give up getting to the major leagues. It can happen. All you need is one Banksy moment, and you're over the moon. Okay, I just need to get right in front of the right film camera, hold this print up, and go, hey, I'm peacefully protesting, but if you're sick, you got a terminal illness or something like that, and you're thinking about whacking the president, just make sure you get a fucking scope this time, okay? Go out there with a fucking BB gun. You get yourself a 50 cal with a scope on it, or a 30-06 or something with a scope that you can put something down range, man. Unless you're figuring on getting shot or doing time, it's pretty tough to smoke the president and get away with it, although it can and has been done, right? It can and has been done, and it could be done again. I'm in Carl again. It's starting to rain now, and got the heat going on. It feels lovely in here, and really look forward to taking Carl over to the Olympic rainforest, because I haven't even scratched the surface of the great state of Washington, the evergreen state. The Olympic forest, the Olympic National Rainforest. I can see the Olympic Mountains from my living room, and I see the sunset behind them. But in the morning, when the sun comes up behind me from the east and illuminates them, looking west, lights up the face of the mountains, man, it's freaking spectacular. I think they're like 12 or 14,000 feet. I mean, they're way up there. They're big. But over on the coast, not on the Pacific Crest Trail, but on the coastal trail, I guess. Snow-capped most of the time. And I've seen a little bit of Washington. When I drove tractor trailer, oh damn, I just gave away another job, didn't I? I used to go to Yakima to pick up apples and pears, but the east side is pretty red, but I don't, it's nothing. Well, I guess the Cascade Mountains are spectacular. I want to see that when it's not raining, that is. And sorry, I got to, but I really want to see the rainforest. It's called the Hoh Rainforest, H-O-H Rainforest. And okay, I want to talk about Portugal because that's really freaking exciting, and that's only 3 or 4 weeks away. So we're going to have one episode of Travels with Carl in a few weeks that's actually going to be filmed in Portugal, and you're going to actually get to see my farm and my stone house. And I hope that I'm going to be filming Travels with Carl while Joseph is filming another episode of Farmer for Fun. And right now I'm trying to convince him into doing an episode on my little farm, my little quinta, where he can show, hey, look, here's a guy from the United States that just bought a farm from me here, and look how easy it was. Was that easy to do, Rich? And I'll go, yeah, that was really fucking easy to do, Joseph, because of you and Andre and Julio, my attorney in Portugal. I haven't met any of these people in person yet, but me and Joseph are on WhatsApp, and we talk to each other and text each other a lot. And it was his channel that really inspired me and solidified this whole plan. So I'm trying to convince him to shoot an episode back on my farm. Now, this wouldn't really help him financially in the beginning, okay, because he's already sold that farm. But I think it could make some more deals solid. Like the farm that I bought, it was for sale for 2 years. Nobody bought it. They dropped it from 30,000 euros to 20,000 euros, and I tried to get them to come down to 15, but they were like, no, not moving an inch. So I paid 20,000 euros for it. A few thousand here and there for legal fees, documents. I'll probably end up like 22,000 euros into it, 23,000 euros into it, something like that. Oh shit, my whole fucking camera almost fell over right there. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to getting a real tripod and actually figuring out the best angle and the best way to do this. But again, if you're out there, and you're like a YouTuber, I'd love your help. Okay, one quick Philadelphia story before we go on and talk about Portugal. One day I was going to go get a slice of pizza for lunch, and I just took a break in the middle of this painting class, and it was kind of really the guy, Jerry Herdman. I love this guy. Anyway, I went to lunch, and I go in this pizza place just a block away down Broad Street. Nobody in there. Okay, there's a waiting room with tables, or I should say there's like a sit-down area with tables and chairs and stuff, but nobody in there but me and him. This one dude behind the counter, and he's got one of those old-fashioned adding machines that he's just like ringing it up with a paper tape. He's just ringing up sale after sale after sale, and the paper is just coiling up, rolling down on the floor, and there's like a whole 30 feet of adding machine tape coiled up down on the floor there. And I said, hey, how's it going, man? It's going great. Can I help you? And he just kind of laughs, smiling at me. It's got a counter there like they normally do with the different pies in there with pepperoni and green peppers or plain or, whatever different kind of pizza you want. And blowjet, or blowjet ovens, however you want to pronounce it back there, the regular pizza ovens. And I said, I just want to get a slice of pizza for lunch. He goes, you want to get a slice of pizza? And he kind of laughs. I go, yeah, is that all right? Because, of course, you can get a slice of pizza. And he goes, hold on just a minute. And he rings up a few more non-existent sales. And he's kind of smiling. He says, what kind of pizza do you want? I go, pepperoni. He grabs a slice of pepperoni off of the, the tray, smiling, just like, oh, this is just great. He can't believe this country bumpkin. He throws it in the oven, goes back and just starts ringing up the numbers, just keeps ringing up more tape. And finally, I say to him, how much is that? He goes, oh, hold on just a second. And then he rings my sale up, and he goes, $3, or whatever it was. I think it was $3, with a drink, some like lunch special, right? And a couple of minutes later, he's still just nonstop ringing up more sales. Nobody else is coming in the place since I walked in there. And finally, he goes and gets my pizza, throws it on a paper plate, gives me a drink. I give him the money. Of course, he doesn't give me a receipt. And I said, thanks, man. I'll see you next time. And he goes, I'll see you next time. And I think, man, that was weird. That guy's a little bit crazy, man. It's like a fucking cuckoo. So I go back to school, and I go, Jerry, you won't believe this place down the street, man. I just got a slice of pizza. And the dude, I'm the only one in there, right? And the dude is just ringing up sale after sale after sale. And Jerry smiles, and then he just starts laughing. He goes, did you end up getting a slice of pizza? I go, yeah, I did. He goes, well, that's not really a pizza parlor. I go, yeah, it is. I got a slice of pizza. He goes, well, I know you got a slice of pizza. They sold you a slice of pizza, but that shop is just for money laundering. It's not really a pizza place. You won't ever see anybody in there buying pizza, except maybe you. And he goes, that's how money laundering works, Rich. Fuck. He goes, now that guy, the mob, is going to say that he sold $80,000 or $800,000 worth of pizza out of that shop last year. And in exchange for doing that, because he's going to have to pay taxes on $800,000. In exchange for doing that, the mob is going to give him that tax burden. And then they're also going to throw him another $100,000 for his time that year, just making up false receipts that they can turn in when the IRS audits them. So that was the day I learned about money laundering, freshman year, 1979. All right, that's it for PCA. That's all I got to say about that. But here's the deal. I'm flying to Portugal on the 12th of November, flying into Lisbon, taking the train to Fundão, which is on the east side of the great country of Portugal, closer to the border of Spain than it is to the ocean. So it's almost 3/4 of the way into the country, pretty much equidistant between Porto and Lisbon, but to the east. And that's where all the cherry farming is, on the north and south side of the Gardenia Mountains. So my little farm is over there, and I'm staying in a really nice little hotel in Fundão, and I'll be there for 6 nights. We're going to go open a bank account. I'm going to get a NIF number, which is NIF, and it's like a national something number, identification number, something like that. And then those are required by law that I have those in order to buy this piece of property. And I'm going to complete the transaction with the attorney, give him the remainder of the money. He's going to give me a deed for the land, and it's actually 2 deeds because they're 2 separate plots, and one of them has the stone ruin on it. And then I'm going to go to the mushroom festival with Joseph and his family, and I hope we can talk everybody into doing that because it's a big deal there. And I don't know if there's psychedelic mushrooms. Like, if I'm pretty sure there are because of the music and the images I've seen of the people partying there, but there's for sure alcohol and food. But a lot of people in Portugal forage for mushrooms, and wild mushrooms are a big thing there. And I've never had a wild mushroom in my life. I've had psychedelic mushrooms, but all the other mushrooms I've ever had were all genetically whatever, just your standard variety, garden variety mushroom, or mushrooms in cans, but usually portobello or, a couple different varieties, but they all came from the grocery store. I've never picked and eaten a mushroom in my life. So that'll be fun. Going to do that together. And then at some point, we're going to go to the farm and we're going to walk the whole property. Like I said, half of it's wooded. And Joseph or Andres never walked on that part. I'm hoping that it's terraced. It may just be a straight incline. But eventually that'll be planted with cherry trees too. But the other side is where the stone ruin is, and it's already terraced and cleared. So I'm going to start putting in cherry trees there in the fall. And then have the irrigation pump hooked up from my well so that by the time I go over there next time in the summer, those trees will be getting water from the irrigation pump. Electricity right there at the door. So I'm going to leave some money with my friends over there so that they can pay off the electricians and whatever, get this thing underway. So that's all I got for you today, man. And again, thanks for traveling with Carl. If you can share this YouTube, I sure would appreciate it. If you can like and subscribe and ring the bell. I'm hoping I can get this thing monetized soon because I need to add a few $1,000s to my monthly income to be really comfortable. If I can add like 5 or 10,000, that's just going to be crazy comfortable, man. And I'm just going to keep buying more land in Portugal and just start planting more and more cherries. And eventually I'll leave that to somebody that will just inherit a kick-ass cherry farm or 2. All right, man, let's ride. Love you.
Surrounded by the beast, the birds and the breeze, his motor home in the woods where creativity seems. Sun will abode, colors come alive on canvas. He paints, pressing all his strife. With the spirits of the woods, he dances in delight, creating masterpieces every single night.